From Facts continues to roll on. I'm your host, Mike Page, as we continue to bring you the very latest coast to coast. But right now, we want to talk about the year that was 2020. I know it's been hard for a lot of people, worldwide pandemic, and just so much more. And that's why we're bringing in fitness guru and really just a great person to talk to about really your mental well-being. Felicia Romero joins us. Felicia, thanks so much for joining us here today.
Hello. I'm so great to be here. Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. So tell us, you being this fitness guru and then also a motivator, what are you hearing from your clients? I mean, this year must have just been so awful on so many accounts.
Yeah, for a lot of my clients I'm hearing, and just people in general reaching out to me on Instagram or my website, is just the burnout on the virtual workouts, the burnout on the at-home workouts, really missing or not even having access to weights. And so for a lot of people, they've had a hard time transitioning from what their routine was to then starting a new routine. And that is what I've seen a lot of people being challenged with is, being able to push themselves, in the intensity at home, not having what they need available. And for a lot of my clients, especially, I've been helping them getting over that mental hurdle, in essence, that we don't need anything. We don't need anything at home. If we don't have any equipment at home, what we have is our body. And, we have to have that drive, obviously, to get it started. And so that's kind of been the mental obstacle that I've been seeing so many people deal with is just, breaking from their routine, now working from home or not having access to a lot of equipment and wanting to start something anew.
Definitely. And here's another thing that I want to know, Felicia, for the people that are working from home, and when you're talking to your clients, how do you talk to them to get away from that refrigerator, because it's right there? And I mean, it's so easy to just grab another stack or grab another drink. And then, those calories just keep climbing even when you're supposed to be quote unquote working.
Yeah. It makes it so easy because you're at home, you're in the comforts of your home. And then again, we can start habits that don't serve us. So it really is getting back to a routine. And I'm going to mention that word so many times throughout this call today, because routine is so important. The way that we treat our morning routine, the way that we treat our work routine during the day, and even our nightly routine. So I always like to bring it back to our daily nutritional commitments that we can make to ourselves. And that's not the mindset of what can we restrict. More of it is what can we add? And those daily nutritional commitments should be something of a nutritional value. Okay, so I'll give you an example. The commitments that I make to myself is I have protein with every single one of my meals, a lean protein. I make sure that I have veggies with dinner and water. Water is super important to me. So I make sure that I have 64 to 80 ounces of water. So as I'm telling that to myself, those are goals that I keep for myself daily. I write them down, I stick to them, commitments that I make so that I make sure that it helps keep me on track. If we go into our routine, for a lot of people, they want to be that all in or all out type mentality. That can set us up for failure, because the moment that we eat the thing that we think we're not supposed to have, it snowballs into, well, I'm just going to give up for today. I'm just going to start tomorrow. And what that can turn into is a week of horrible eating. And that also turns into us feeling not so great. And not just mentally, because of course the feelings of guilt and shame come in, but not feeling great. We start to become more tired. We start putting on body fat. We start to have the mental brain fog and just the lack of motivation. And that will just snowball into then, completely off our routine. Any sort of wellness and fitness goals have completely gone out the window. And we tell ourselves, well, I'll just start next year. And so, I see that happen all too often. And again, I'm always going to bring it back to, we have to make our daily routines solid and create habits that are going to serve us and help us move the dial in our fitness, with our fitness goals.
That's so true. I mean, when we're talking about that trap, it's that trap I think we've all experienced. Like you said, I will do it tomorrow. I will do it next week. And then the classic one, now that we're into the holiday season, is, oh, you know what? I'll start working out after the holidays.
Right. right. Absolutely.
And I
There's no
mean,
reason for
that
that.
is the really the trap that if you fall into it, I mean, how are you supposed to have a successful 2021 when you end it so poorly physically?
Absolutely. And think about this, Mike. There's always going to be something. We're going to have a vacation, hopefully, when we get back to that place where we can travel. We're going to have vacations, we're going to have birthdays, we're going to have holidays, there are going to be special occasions. Those are all opportunities where in our head we might blow our diet. Well, how about we just get rid of that mindset completely? Get rid of that mindset completely and tell yourself that I can eat the same thing as what I would on a Tuesday as what I would on Thanksgiving. My life doesn't change because it's Thanksgiving. I might, change up the types of foods that I'm eating, but I don't need to save my calories for that day. I don't need to save my calories for the vacation and overeat on vacation. It can truly just be a lifestyle of moderation and balance, sticking to our daily nutritional commitments, keeping movement at the forefront in our life, and really making those non-negotiables and those commitments of habits daily that are going to keep us on track for lifelong. It's not the all in or all out mentality. It's not that I'm going to go crazy and do the whole 30 and just drop all my carbs for the next 30 days. No, the thing is, the carbs are always going to be there. All of these foods, there's no good or bad, right or wrong. There's no more holding foods on a pedestal. We have to be able to navigate these social, functions, parties, vacations, holidays, and know that it's part of our life now. It's a lifestyle. And if we can commit to those commitments and those non-negotiables each and every day, we will eventually hit our fitness goals. And not only that, we will feel better because we're not going to be so hyper obsessed about the weight on the scale. It's just going to naturally come off because we have committed to healthy habits that help get us there.
And very good points there. And Felicia, does it concern you sometimes when you have people come up to you and says, I want to lose, my ultimate goal is to lose, say, 10 to 15 pounds before my wedding. Does it bother you when it comes to that? Because are you thinking, okay, what are you going to do after the wedding? Or what are you going to do later in life? Does that, when they have that type of goal, does that kind of concern you a little bit?
You know what? It doesn't concern me because I'm a firm believer in goals, but I'm also an advocate of the vehicle and how we get there. So if our goal is, yes, our wedding is in, 3 months or 5 months or however long, and my goal is to lose 10 pounds, I tell her, great goal to have, but how are we going to get there? If it's extreme lifestyle, then we know that that's not sustainable, right? So that's where we, again, go back to our daily nutritional habits. So I always go back to the vehicle and how we get there. I always tell men and women that it's okay to have goals. It's okay to have body goals. Maybe we do want to look a certain way, but we don't define ourselves by how we look. And we can also use other measures of success to get there. So maybe her goal is the wedding in 3 months and she wants to lose 10 pounds. I wouldn't even advocate her weighing every week. I would say, hey, let's set up 3 goals that we can hit by the end of that 3 months. And those 3 goals can be maybe, increase intensity in workouts. Maybe we go from, 10 minutes a day now to 30 minutes a day in exercise. Maybe we increase strength. Maybe we make nutritional commitments to each other versus just focusing on the weight. And what she's going to realize is she's going to gain so much more from all of the other things that we can measure of success versus just the weight. So by the end of that, and we get to her wedding, she will now have lost the weight, but also has gained a lot of other great things like endurance, strength. Maybe she's lost body fat. Maybe she's built a little bit of lean muscle. And maybe she also has created awesome habits that are going to sustain her long-term.
So true. Now, Felicia, when we saw gyms close down really across the country because of this COVID-19 pandemic for partially, when they had to close down for a month or 2 months because of all the shutdowns and lockdowns that we were seeing, did you have people come up to you and say, well, wait a minute, I only know how to work out inside the gym. I don't know anything about doing something at home.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I would say my business definitely increased because the way that I set up my fitness and my programs is truly that, movement is at the forefront. So exercise can look different for everyone. Exercise doesn't necessarily mean let's get into the gym, work out for an hour, heavy weights and cardio machines. Exercise can simply be taking a 30-minute walk outside. So, we just have to change the perspective of what exercise and movement means, and also to truly find something that you enjoy. Because again, when we come back to sustainability, when we find something we enjoy, we know that we're going to stick to it long term. If we are doing things that we don't necessarily enjoy, it's probably not going to be sustainable. And if we're doing it because we think that we have to do it in order to look a certain way, or that's what diet culture is telling us, then it's probably not going to last. So I always tell people, like, hey, what kind of activities do you enjoy? What's feasible for you in your lifestyle? And then for many, it's adding small habits that are going to help create that momentum, So, but yeah, I feel like things like walking and body weight exercises can be so underrated. I feel like something is better than nothing. And again, it's just going to increase momentum over time.
Yeah, and your Instagram that you post, I mean, when you feature some of the workouts, you're doing it right inside of your own home.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing to check out as well.
Yeah, absolutely. If you can set up a space inside your home that sets you up for success, I'm a firm believer that if it's, out of sight, out of mind. So if you're putting your treadmill in a back room where you don't see it and never go in that room, chances are you're probably not going to use it. So I would say, hey, put your treadmill out front where you can see it. Put your, tennis shoes right next to that treadmill. And, when you see it, it's going to prompt that action inside of you to say, okay, I'm going to get on the treadmill today and put it in front of the TV and get a little walk in. So I always tell people to set up their space that it makes it adequate enough for them to want to make those changes in their life.
Awesome. Now you talk a lot about being in the right mindset. How many days really in a row or weekly do you have to do it to really click in your brain, okay, this is the new program that I'm on, or this is the new workout regimen? How much do you have to do that to really get locked in per se?
I love that you just asked that. We've all heard of like the 21 day, the 30 day. I actually read a book recently. I have it right here because I'm almost through it. It's called The One Thing. I love that book, and they actually have some scientific data in there that says that it takes people 66 days to establish a habit. Okay. And when, if you're watching this right now and you're having a hard time getting started on your fitness routine, and it's just something that you feel like you keep giving up on, I do feel like sometimes we make our goals too big or too hard to digest. We got to start small. So, if it's one small habit that we can start adding in and do it for 66 plus days, it will turn into a habit. Okay. So, but yeah, there's been some scientific research. I just remember just reading that book recently, and reading that as something that just stuck with me. But 66 days to really nail down that habit.
And then you can get the good snowball, right? We heard about the negative snowball, about like things that, your diet just snowballs out of control, but there could be a snowball which it really is good for you, the snowball of getting on the right track.
Absolutely. So the thing is about habits is you can definitely have habits in your life that don't serve you and habits that do. Again, I have created habits in my life where I'm like, I have to check myself. I'm like, okay, Felicia, don't, and this is totally just being honest right now. Right now, I will jump on Candy Crush and distract myself. Where I'm like, Felicia, is this really serving me? Or for a lot of people, they'll scroll Instagram and scroll, people can go down a rabbit hole of just watching YouTube video after YouTube video after YouTube video. I believe Joe Rogan talks about this on his podcast, where he'll just kind of get into this habit where he just will spend hours. And so if we can be aware of what we're doing and then check ourselves and add habits that then do serve us, I know for a lot of us, we can't rely on willpower or motivation. Okay. So the reason for that is because it comes and goes. There will be days where we are not motivated, but what helps us stick to our goals are the habits that we've created. So one thing that I always suggest, a good rule of thumb, is to add a new habit around a time when our willpower or our motivation is at its highest. And for a lot of people, that's the morning. We wake up ready to go, which is why a lot of people get up, they're like, man, I've eaten a healthy breakfast, I've stayed on track, I've eaten a healthy lunch. Then as the day goes on, they get home and they're getting comfortable, they tend to binge eat or blow their diet, is quote unquote blow their diet. So if we can just do the hard things earlier on, get your movement in, set yourself up for success for the day, not rely simply on motivation or willpower, you will get there. And those habits will start to stick.
Wow, these insights are truly amazing. Now, I know a lot of people watching this are going to have a lot of questions. What's the best way for people to contact you if they have any follow-ups?
Yeah, thank you, Mike. You can just, reach out. I'm on all the social media platforms at Felicia Romero on Instagram. There's also ways to connect with me right there in my bio, or my website, FeliciaRomero.com. Super accessible. I also have a podcast where I talk all about this stuff. Really easy. Even the podcast I dropped today was ways to get out of a rut, a fitness rut. So, and that's Diet Dropout Podcast. So yeah, lots of ways to get a hold of me.
Yeah, there's always a lot of ways to check you out and get all of your details and really insights. Felicia Romero, thank you so much for joining us. I wish you were here in the studio with us.
Me too.
We broke our streak a little bit, but not really, because we're still doing it this way. Thank God for technology.
Virtual hug.
Yes, virtual. There you go. There you go. Felicia, thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving and have a great Christmas season. And thank you again.
Thank you. Bye.
And more news now will be coming up next here in just 2 minutes.